Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander review video for Magic the Gathering. We're in the Portal 3 Kingdoms set. I have already mentioned this in the last video, so if you haven't watched it, go back to the Lady Zhurong Warrior Queen video. But missed a day, gonna fix that, gonna get on top of that. Apologies, thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys for the 2,000 subscribers. I love that. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to keep making more content for you guys. A lot of stuff planned for the future, but I talked mostly about that in the last video, so go check that out. Today we are talking about Liu Bei, Lord of Shu. Now, if I mispronounced that, I'm just going to refer to this card as the Lord of Shu until the end of the video. The Lord of Shu is a human soldier. It's a 2/4 and it costs 3 generic mana and 2 white mana. It has 2 abilities. The first is keyword. It's got horsemanship, can't be blocked except by creatures with horsemanship. So we're going to be seeing that rules text in the next slide here. Also, the Lord of Shu gets +2/+2 as long as you control a permanent named Guan Yu, Sainted Warrior, or a permanent named Zhang Fei, Fierce Warrior. So we're gonna have a very interesting deck idea with this. It's one that I've mentioned multiple times. It's kind of one of my defaults, one of my default deck ideas for these unique, weird, relying on other creature kind of commanders. But I do think it is fun. I do think it's unique. So let's go through these deck ideas, and I'll let you guys determine that in the comments below. What you guys think. Oh, I gotta move my mouse back over. Boop. Excuse me. So, as I mentioned earlier, rules text. Horsemanship does not interact with flying or reach. It is its own form of evasion. The only thing that can interact with it is horsemanship. Because Lord of Shu wants you to have other legendary creatures in play so it can have its benefit. I picked Flowering of the White Tree just because it does give your other legendary creatures that protection, and also gives them additional power toughness, as well as your non-legendary creatures. It's just a great Anthem effect for a mono white deck. I really love it. Of course, like the other 2 commanders, I have talked about Guan Yu, and later I will be doing Zhang Fei. And so when I get to that card, as well as this one and Guan Yu, they are all going in my human deck because the Lord of Shu wants to have both of those cards in the deck with it. So it's going in my human tribal deck. It's all about going wide with an army of human tokens and giving them forms of protection, anthem effects, so on and so forth. Like other horsemanship commanders, you could build a horsemanship deck. Very good in mono white because there are a lot of horsemanship commanders. Bear in mind that this is the most expensive deck idea of the 3. And this is what I determined based on EDH Rec as far as the cards that are popular for this commander. You're pretty much doing the same thing. You're focusing on doing anthem effects. You're wanting to give your army keywords and fantastic combat triggers like lifelink and double strike. Really good. However, again, it's going to be very expensive. Cards with horsemanship were not like ever reprinted, hardly ever. So, very expensive deck to build, but it will be a mono white unblockable deck, which is very cool. And then lastly, I've talked about this deck idea a couple times in different ways, but it follows the same kind of concept, and it is a clone deck, a copy deck, a duplication deck, whatever you want to call it. But the whole deck idea for this specifically is we want to have multiple copies of specifically the Lord of Shu. And then we want to have at least one copy of either the Fierce Warrior or the Sainted Warrior, because then every time we have a copy of the Lord of Shu in play, they're going to be getting a base power toughness of 4/6 rather than their 2/4 that they start with. And then we can make tons of copies of multiples of these cards. They all have horsemanship. There are cards that get around the legend rule, and white is really good at populating tokens. So as far as the copy token duplication theme goes, white and green is probably the best at that, because there are artifacts like mirror box and mirror wall of mirrors or hall of mirrors or something like that get around the legend rule, or helm of the host that gets around the legend rule. But then green and white has ways to continuously duplicate those tokens over and over and over. So you could build this crazy army of 4/6s with the help of these other two legendaries that you see on the screen here. So an interesting deck idea. It's one that I kind of fall back to, but I do think it's fun. I do think it's unique. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of any of these deck ideas. And that is going to do it for Liu Bei, Lord of Shu. Unblockable. As always, the horsemanship commanders are unblockable. Fantastic form of evasion to have for your commander. And there are unfortunately two downsides to this commander. Obviously, anything that's going to be unblockable like this is going to be targeted by your opponents. They do not want to lose to commander damage, and you can easily do that with this commander. The second thing is, its ability is cool, but you rely not only on other creatures being in play, but specific legendary creatures being in play. And in this modern age of commander, there's removal everywhere, and there's board wipes everywhere, so it's hard to really maintain a board of creatures these days without forms of protection. So it's a difficult deck to build around, but it is cool, it is powerful, and again, that unblockable is very, very powerful as far as keywords go. So you can suit up Liu Bei, Lord of Shu, with tons of equipment, tons of enchantments, very easy to do with mono white. Go ahead and make that crazy token population deck and make tons of the Lord of Shu and have copies of the other two commanders in there so they get that bonus. And again, very aggro. This whole set is very aggro themed as far as the horsemanship commanders are concerned. So dominate the table with a war and a warrior like Liu Bei, Lord of Shu, who's actually not a warrior, he's just a soldier. That's crazy. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything I missed. And thank you guys so much for all your support. Thank you, seriously. I cannot wait to continue making more content for you guys. I'm going to work really hard to stay on top of the Magic content so I don't fall behind. We have 31 commanders in this whole set in total, so we got to get through that quickly so we can get to the next set. There's so much to talk about, and that's what I'm going to do in the next one. Bye!